This week I'm taking a look at the proto-slasher film The Town That Dreaded Sundown from the 1970s. Predating John Carpenter's Halloween, but being made after Black Christmas. I realize this is the day after Halloween, but, the Wednesday before Halloween is the usual time I do Nintendo Power retrospectives, so bear with me. The Town That Dreaded Sundown is from the writer-director team of Earl E. Smith and Charles B. Pierce, respectively, who had previously done the horror docudrama The Legend of Boggy Creek, a G-rated horror film based on local legends of a Sasquatch-esque cryptid from the Texarkana area, which has previously been reviewed by the Cinema Snob, so I will refer you to his review in the doobly-doo. The Town That Dreaded Sundown uses the same presentation for another local legend from the same area. A serial killer known as the Phantom Killer, who committed a series of murders of couples in the area and who was never caught. As with The Legend of Boggy Creek, the film claims to be reenactments of actual events, interspersed with narration covering events in between the major sequences. The film works well enough as a docudrama, though the acting performances are really dry. This is probably due to the nature of the subgenre. Pierce and Smith seem to have been aware of this, because they seem to have taken a cue from the scenes with the bumbling deputies from The Last House on the Left, and added a bumbling patrolman, Sparkplug, to add artificial comic relief, which comes across as incredibly forced and giving the film a sense of tonal whiplash, something that both contemporary and modern critics, or contemporary with release and modern critics, find grating. Additionally, while the actual Phantom Killer just shot people, Pierce and Smith added one of the signature elements of the slasher film to his actions. Involved, somewhat contrived and creative kills. In this case, in one of the scenes of the film, the killer decides to attach a knife to the end of one of the victim's trombones and stabs them to death with it by playing the trombone. On the one hand, it's clever. On the other hand, the reason why it's clever is because it's trying to be clever. That works in a clearly fictionalized film like the Friday the 13th series or the Halloween films, because the film isn't based on actual events or real people, and because those films have the issue of serial escalation that they're trying to address, each film having to top the last, and each killing in the film itself having to top the previous one. Here, the film claims to be based on actual historical events, so it goes from being clever and inventive to gross and exploitative in the bad exploitation film sense, the same context that falls within Manson exploitation films and Jonestown exploitation films. Violence-wise, while IMDb says the film received an R rating, content-wise, the film is basically a PG-13. There isn't that much blood, and the only nudity in the film is a shot of the butt of a guy diving into the water while skinny dipping to establish that the timeline is now in the summer. I don't know if I'd classify this film as a must-watch to fans of horror films as a whole and slasher films in particular. Most viewers would expect the narrative build-up and the conclusive ending of a traditional slasher film, along with the suspense build that comes with it, and this film doesn't have that. True crime fans who are interested in this from the pseudo-documentary standpoint will be annoyed by the fact that it takes so many liberties with actual events. It's the kind of film where, if it was on TV or it came up on Netflix Instant and there was nothing else I wanted to watch, I might put it on the background, but I'd never describe it as something I'd absolutely want to have in my collection. It's not something I'd take over to friend's house for a horror movie night. It's just not something that really calls attention to why I should own this, or why anyone else really has the need to own it in their collection either. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please like this video and subscribe to the channel to be notified when new videos come out. If there's something in particular you'd like to see me cover, or just want to get your name in the credits or otherwise help the show, please support my Patreon. Once again, thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.